Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to this somewhat long-awaited Q&A. Now originally I was planning to do this last week, but I kind of had my hands full. So hey, better late than never. Now I have some of your questions here that you've asked me at my 150k video. Thanks again guys, really do appreciate it. But anyway, back on topic about the Q&A, I might try to do these a bit more. Probably like every time we earn 10k subs. So the next one will be at 160k, which we are like halfway there at the moment. So you guys might get this more often. Anyway, let's actually get on to the question. Now our first question is from Renegade Scottista. Just a heads up, I'm probably going to pronounce everyone's name here wrong, and I do apologise. Anyway, his or her question is, will you still do movie reviews? Still want the King of Fighters one? Maybe I'm the only one though. Now movie reviews will still happen. I've just put them on the back burner for now because they do take a lot of time to make, and I'm quite worried with the amount of space I have on this Mac. So right now doing movie reviews is something I'd like to do, but it does take a lot of time and effort, and it does put quite a bit of stress on my hardware. But rest assured that I will most certainly do that. I'm going to take off my glasses because you can see the reflection and it looks really dumb. Our next question is from QnA. She asked, would you ever talk about the Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear series? Now, I'm not going to lie, the series itself has intrigued me because I do quite like the anime art style, but it's one of those things where I don't really know where to start with Guilty Gear. I grew up on different fighting games opposing to them, so they were never featured in any of the arcades I went to, and it was only up to a few years ago where I actually started learning a lot about Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, and it does intrigue me. It's just I have to learn what's going on there, and I don't really know where to start with the series. As I do remember watching a little bit of the Blaze Blue anime, but I made it up to like a certain point and then I just kind of dropped it. I swear I do that with almost every anime I watch now. So if it comes down to a yes or no answer, I'm going to say no for the time being, but maybe later on when I actually do get around to learning that entire like universe or universes, I don't know if the two are joined, then you can probably expect a video on that, as I really do find Soul Bad Guy fucking cool. Our next question is from Lamar Colquitt. Don't know why I said it that way. How come you've never done a history of Mokujin? Well, at the moment, I could say that for quite a few characters. I haven't gotten around to every single character because there's lots of other characters who I'm kind of bringing to the forefront, Tekken-wise, who kind of deserve much more exposure than Mokujin. Because Mokujin, from a design standpoint, not very interesting, but I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff about him if I read into him a bit more. We now have a question from Damon Morgan. This is a bit of a long one. What were your thoughts on the Chronicle of the Sword mode in Soul Calibur 3? Would you like to see a similar game mode be put into Soul Calibur 3? What other features would you like to see in a new Soul Calibur game? Well, to answer your first question, I didn't actually play that game mode. I used to play the arcade ladders as a kid, so I never really kind of got around to playing different game modes. And sadly, this means I can't really answer your second question, but the stuff I'd like to see in Soul Calibur 6 is just basically everything you kind of had in Soul Calibur 5. Soul Calibur 5's gameplay to me felt very polished, and it was very beginner friendly. And if we're trying to appeal this game to like a newer generation, and we haven't put out a new game in ages, we really kind of need a game that is somewhat legacy based, but allows newer and older audiences to kind of just come together. So gameplay wise, I'd want something very similar to 5, but we do need to address the thing, fighting game and story modes. I want the entire timeline of Soul Calibur 5 just scrapped. I'm not a big fan of it personally, and it's not so much that it was a bad game, but what really kind of annoyed me and a lot of other fans was the reskins. Like you had Taki, I think I've said that right, and they essentially replaced and I would say whitewashed her with this new kind of protege, and they kind of tried to force this whole new generation thing, and it clearly didn't work because people had become accustomed to knowing that character and her moveset. By reskinning her and really changing it, it seems like a very cheap way to introduce a new generation instead of adding in new and original characters that have similarities to the old ones. At least give them a whole new arsenal of moves with references to the old one, because then if you don't, it just seems like a bit of a cop-out. Our next question is from Morgan Robinson. She asked, can you please post the title/artist of the endings in all your videos? I can't quite decipher the lyrics enough to Google them myself, please and thank you. Well, as you guys know, I do use quite a lot of music in my videos because I personally find it like very engaging, and I don't normally give it away because I want people to go off and try and find it and maybe find something else they like on top of the song they're looking for. But if you want me to be much more specific, my old outro was Alarm by SN Music, which is the one I used for about a year and a half, and then after that my current one is Marigold by Periphery, one of my favorite bands by the way. Just saying, if you are into like metal and rock, definitely check them out. They are really talented. As for the stuff I have going on in the backgrounds in my videos, I use a lot of audio active music. Cryptic, something Shadows. So take a look at a lot of audioactive music. Even if you do not find the song that I specifically use, trust me, you will find something else that's absolutely amazing. Our next question is from Gravy's Tube. I dig the name. Who's your favourite character of Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur and Injustice? And all of those together. That is quite the question, sir. Favourite character Mortal Kombat? I would say at the current moment in Mortal Kombat, and I'm a bit of a sucker for new characters, I probably would say Takeda. I do like the direction they're really taking this character, plus I see a very bright future for this character. Street Fighter, I'm probably going to be very boring and say Evil Ryu, because I absolutely adored playing him in Street Fighter 4. Tekken is a very hard one. I'm always going to go and like say King, because I love the absolutely like absurd and flashy like gameplay he can have, like the military press and the tombstone pile driver. It's so over the top, but I absolutely love it. Injustice, much like King, I actually picked up Bane because he's just stupid dumb fun. Nearly forgot Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur, I'm gonna say Mitsurugi. The guy was absolutely cool. But out of all of those, I'd say Roger from Tekken. We have a question from Tom Kirstensen. Again, sorry for the bad pronunciation. Have you thought that if there is a new Soul Calibur coming out, should it get the MK9 treatment or should it just fix the problems that Soul Calibur 5 had? Congrats on the 50 subs, keep it going. Have an opinion on how fighting games should be in terms of mods, character balance systems and themes. That's actually a really good question. Now as for the whole reboot thing, I personally would be absolutely okay with it. Sometimes rebooting a franchise can really breathe new life into the game. It's been very evident and has worked for Mortal Kombat. There's obviously going to be people saying it's like nowhere near as good as the old timeline, but it's mostly people who can't get over their own nostalgia. Reboot, I would be down, mostly because if it's done the same way, a reboot of the game essentially allows a lot of fan service to be done. You can bring in all of the original characters and you don't have to rely on all of the new characters that was somewhat just pushed out the door for number 5. So really, a reboot would most certainly benefit Soul Calibur. To answer your second question about how fighting games should be in terms of mods, character balance and systems and themes, that's a very hard one for me to kind of answer because every fighting game is kind of different in its own way. Now in terms of modification, I feel like that's something that should be in every fighting game, in the sense that it's all like cosmetic stuff. That's why I really like Injustice 2, because although you have the option to have your stats affect a match, you also have the option to not have it do anything at all. Our next question is from MKX Chrome. Do you think Chrome will be in Mortal Kombat 11? Do you think a petition will help? Now I have seen a petition float about this character, and if I'm honest, I'm going to have to say no. And this solely comes down to the fact that Chrome is a fan-made character. Chrome doesn't exist within the main continuity of Mortal Kombat and never has. Ed Boon has even been asked about it, and he has said he has no idea who that is. So by just kind of that alone, I will unfortunately say that the likelihood of Chrome ever kind of being in a Mortal Kombat game is extremely slim. We have another question from Electric Gamer Cheese. I'm loving these names. I really love your videos, man. Been watching for a while now. Congrats on the milestone. And for the Q&A, you mentioned what's your favourite and least favourite Tekken and Mortal Kombat game and why. This one's a bit of a doozy for me because I don't really have a bad Tekken game. So if I were to pick out of all of the installments and all of them are really good, I would just say kind of Tekken 1, because everything from that Tekken onwards really kind of got better. But I'm not saying Tekken 1 is bad at all. Tekken 1 is fucking amazing. Just everything after that point kept getting better. So I don't really have like a least favorite Tekken game because I absolutely adore all of them. Now as for favorite Tekken game, I'm going to currently say 7 as I'm having a lot of fun with it. I will say I'm not too happy about the netcode in the game at the moment, but with patches things start to change and eventually it'll get better. But yeah, absolutely loving Tekken 7 right now. My favorite Mortal Kombat game, I'm always going to say Mortal Kombat X, as it's what really propelled this channel and like really solidified my place in the FGC. It will always remain as like my favorite Mortal Kombat game. Plus I battered people in that game. First fighting game that I was somewhat taking a bit competitive. Now my least favorite Mortal Kombat game I've ever played, probably Mythologies. I was unfortunate enough to play it a few months ago. The difficulty curve in that game is ridiculous and it's just not that fun. Our next question is from Charlotte Garson. Her question is Dead or Alive 5 question mark. Now I do have to admit I'm very skeptical in the Dead or Alive franchise because much like Blaze Blue and like Guilty Gear, I'm not nearly familiar with them as much as I am with Tekken, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. So I will have to say for now, no, but I will cover it at a later time. The series does intrigue me and it has got some really cool stuff. So Dead or Alive will most likely happen, let's say, next year. You know, it's going to be so difficult making thumbnails for that and not have it come across as clickbait. Our next question is from Angel. He or she asks, have you ever watched Mortal Kombat Conquest, and if so, what is your opinion? I unfortunately have not watched it, but I will be covering it in my movie series, which is going to feature some really cool stuff later on this year, but I will be talking about Conquest. Our next question is from Juicebox. Congratulations HBTW for 150k. Thank you very much, sir. Or her. You get the idea. First question is, what do you want to see in Mortal Kombat 11? Well, I've made quite a few theory videos on it, so feel free to go check those if you want like a better detailed explanation. I'll just give like a brief rundown here. Obviously, we want Raiden as the villain, and I want a complete change of perspective of where the story is. I don't want to play as people from Earthrealm. I want to explore the characters we have from Outworld. Mortal Kombat X was a great pedestal in like giving us these new generation Earthrealm characters, but did fail in the aspect of not letting us explore the Outworld characters we had there, such as more stuff about Aaron Black, Kotal Khan. A game from their perspective could be very different and very interesting if the story goes kind of like all Civil War. It creates a very interesting dynamic. Second question is, would you like to see Harakiris return? Harakiris are a very odd one for me, because I'm very kind of skeptical on fatalities in themselves. Not the fact that I think like they're excessively violent, because to be fair, it's like a itchy and scratchy cartoon at that point. But Harakiris felt like a gimmick in Mortal Kombat Deception. And really, when you compare it to stuff like animalities, the humorous babalities, and the brutalities, Harakiris just felt kind of out of place. So if I'm honest, I don't mind if they don't return. Our next question is from Chris Vouts. Probably said that wrong. He says, congratulations on 150 subs. Thank you very much. His question is, what's the most things you've enjoyed spending on your time on YouTube? I think I just jumbled my words there. But I will say that it's probably the fan base and what they've kind of been able to do for me as a person. I started up this channel in pretty deep depression and I wasn't in a good place in my life, so meeting and getting to talk to all of these people really allowed me to kind of come out of my shell and I guess find my own comfort zone. On top of that, we had the icing on the cake where I got invited by Warner Brothers to try out Injustice 2, where I met Ketchup and Mustard. Hell, we even had cheeky Nando's afterwards. And then when I was invited by Bandai Namco to try out Tekken 7 on 2 different occasions, and I also managed to meet up with my friend King J. And if you're a Tekken player just getting started, I'll have his stuff in the description below. He creates fantastic tutorials for each character. Like seriously, check it out. And I guess the last part really is the job itself. If I can really call it a job, it's more of a luxury. Like don't get me wrong, doing something like this can become a job at times, but I think anyone who takes this job for granted is an absolute fool. You gotta put your foot out the door and hope things go well, and if you don't, it's a very painful process. Our next question is from Aku de Grace. He says, congratulations on your success. You have definitely earned it. Would you ever cover content on Killer Instinct? With the reboot, the characters have a lot of neat backstories. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Aku. Now, Killer Instinct, like I've said with the other ones, is stuff that I'm not very familiar with, but the thing is with me and Killer Instinct, I've played quite a bit of it and I don't gel well with the game. Gameplay wise, I don't gel well with games that like have like quarter rotations and stuff like that. I'd rather just put the input and have it be very analog. So I'm not a big fan of the KI series, but if people really want to see it that bad, I don't see why I shouldn't. Our last question is from Omar, and Omar asks, congrats, and who do you main in Injustice 2? Now, in my 150k video, I'm pretty sure I told everyone I was going to start playing a bit more competitively. At the moment, I don't particularly have a main. I would say the closest thing that I do have to a main in the game is Bane, as I'm very comfortable with him, but with a game like Injustice, there is a lot of counter picking, so in that sense I can't really main Bane if he goes up against a character like Black Adam, because Bane will just get slaughtered. So right now I don't really have a main, but if I go into a matchup that I know I'm not particularly comfortable with, I'll probably play someone like Black Adam. Yes, I am a tier whore. But anyway, yes, this has wrapped up my Q&A. Hopefully this has given you guys a little bit more insight about me as a person and what kind of goes on behind here. But yeah, this pretty much does sum it up. I want to say thank you for everyone who asked the question in that video. I do apologize if I didn't get to every single question, as some questions here were rather similar. Definitely expect these a little bit more, as these are rather lengthy, but they are quite fun to do. Anyway, as always guys, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.